Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Steven Inks. Did you know that Jinhao makes fude nibs? Until very recently, I didn't, and I received one in the mail from a viewer of this channel. We're gonna check that nib out today. Is it any good? How does it compare to the fude nibs from Hongdian and from Sailor that I've talked about on this channel that I really like? Would I recommend a nib like this for your Jinhao pens? Let's just dive right in. All right, so what we're looking at here is, this is an example of the stock fude nib that comes with Jinhao. You can see, you can order Jinhao pens with a fude nib, and you can see here we've got Jinhao branding and their little like horse-drawn carriage logo or whatever, and what is clearly a fude nib. It's bent up at an angle. Comparing it to the other fude nibs that I have, let me just grab them for a second. So we have the Sailor Fude de Manin and the Black Forest by Hongdian, and this is an extra nib that I purchased for that. So the thing that's interesting about them is the angle at which we have the pen working at. So what is it most similar to? It does seem to be a slightly higher angle than the Black Forest. If you look at them, they're both obtuse angles, but one's a little bit closer to a right angle, and that would be the Jinhao. Looking at Sailor, let's see what we've got here. Okay, very much closer, just ever so slightly closer to a right angle. This is my perception, but you can see what it looks like on this screen. But anyway, what we have here is going into my Jinhao 82. Big shout out to Shauna, viewer of this channel, who just sent me this nib apropos of nothing, and gave me the opportunity to check it out. Probably something I would have probably bought for myself anyway, but the two pens that this could go into are the Jinhao 82 and the Jinhao 82 Mini. Just FYI, I'm choosing the Mini today, and the only reason I'm choosing it is because this is actually my preferred pen of the two, the regular Jinhao 82. And because it's my preferred pen, it's actually inked up right now, and I just didn't feel like waiting until I had used it, all the ink up inside it, to do this video. So we're doing the 82 Mini, and the 82 Mini is also a very nice pen. You can see videos for both these pens on my channel, and let's just have a look at what we've got here. So taking the whole pen apart, we've done this before. We won't spend a lot of time looking at it. It does have a mini converter. And the full-sized Jinhao converter isn't going to fit inside the body of this pen. However, this mini converter will fit inside of the full-sized Jinhao 82. We're pulling these things out, and I think this is highly unrecommended that I do this, but I'm going to anyway. This casing right here is what the nib comes in, and it comes out pretty easily. I do have some residue from a pen that from the ink that I had in that last. So just as a precaution, I'm going to take one of my old used up rags that I use to clean my pens and dry them off, and just clean up some of that ink there. Got ink on my fingers. What else is new? This is not the hobby for people who like to have their fingers free of spots. Here we go. And then we're just going to put the old feed in with the pen. Or actually, you know what? Let's put the feed in that came with the pen. I think, looking at them, they look exactly identical. So I don't think there'd be any difference anyway, but let's just use all the stuff that Shauna sent me. So put that in there like that. These pens actually, when you put them together, there's a little bit of a, you have to do a little bit of an alignment thing because you want the back end of that to be right up there and pretty close. Unfortunately, there's no guide marks on these feeds. Some pen companies will have that, but for us, we just got to make the best decision based on what we know about pens. So that feed went in all the way, and then just a little bit of a twist and a push in, and I think that is pretty well aligned. It's a little bit off. I may not ever get it perfect, but there we go. You can order a pen like the Jinhao 82 with a fude nib already installed, just if you would rather not go through what I just went through. But you can always do it yourself too. Okay, so this gives me the pen. It's interesting. It feels like it seems like it sits a little bit higher in the section than the other one did. Hopefully that's not a sign of any problem. Let me just check actually against the other one. Yeah, so we definitely have a higher seating because the nib looked exactly the same for the other pen, but that goes in there nice and solid, so I don't think that's a mistake. The alignment of the two feeds, if you can see right here. So I'm coming in here during the edit of this video, and it really does kind of look like the feed isn't seated correctly, but all I know is that I pushed it in as far as it would go without cracking the plastic. I have done this a few times, so it looks as though that's the way it's supposed to go in. If you know any other tricks for putting those nibs in, please let me know, but just understand that I did do my very best. Okay, back to the video. Is pretty close to what it looks like in the stock nib, so we're just gonna give this a try. I think it should be really interesting. Thinking about using an ink I haven't used in a while, so we are going today with the Mont Blanc Enzio, is that right? Ferrari Purple. I got this from a subscription box that I tried a few years ago. I don't use it very often because I'm just not always in the mood for that color. The purple is very saturated, and it's almost like drawing with grape juice. It's hard to unsee once you'll know what I mean when you start to see the lines in it. But it's an interesting color, and you know, want to keep it diverse here on the channel. So we're gonna draw ink up, just like usual. A couple of pumps helps get a little more ink in there. It's just a reminder that this is a very small converter, and a lot of the ink is down here, so it looks like you got almost nothing, but there's actually a decent amount of ink in there. I'm just gonna try one more time, see if I get any more. I think that's all I'm getting today. All right, well, let's play around with some lines. Pen's ready, and cool. So it started going right away. It did not require any priming to get these lines. This is the thickest line you could get out of it. Not requiring priming before lines is a surprisingly rare quality in pens, because I can't tell you the number of times that I've been trying to get a pen to work before it goes on camera. This time I just went with it. We get these thin lines with reverse writing, and they're very smooth. But I don't understand why people in the fountain pen community don't more often go to a manufacturer and say, hey, this thing is broken. I needed to wait, 20 minutes, half an hour of just poking and prodding this thing before I could get it to work. This works right out of the bat. These are very wet lines, in my opinion. I think you want to have some good paper for this. Just check and see if it bleeds through. This is a drawing I did last time. I get no bleed through, so that's decent. This actually isn't very expensive paper. This is just a regular old sketch pad. I bought it at a craft store here in the US, Michael's it's called. It's where teachers and your mom goes to get their craft supplies. And me. Well, I'm a teacher. They have a discount. I won't want to get into it. Anyway, these are the kinds of lines you can get. Like I said, fast flowing, nice and wet. Probably, yeah. You're going to need to give this time to dry. But let's see. So 10 seconds later, we'll wait a little bit. Maybe about 20 seconds later. Okay, a little bit more dry. Give it a little bit more, maybe 30 seconds. Okay, a little bit, but just down here at the bottom. I'd say probably you're gonna wait 45 seconds to a minute before it's fully dry, so keep that in mind with this kind of pen. But you get a lot of expressive shapes. As you can see, this almost looks like you're painting with a brush, and that's where the term fude comes from. It means brush in Japanese, so I've been told. I do not speak Japanese. But let's just see what it looks like running some shapes. And I'm going to go with a graphical kind of comic booky style because that's something you can do easily with this kind of nib. And that's where you put the outside lines as nice and wide. And then inside lines, to make a thinner line with a nib like this, you got to tilt it up. And a cool thing that you can do with shading for this is you can actually just block out an entire section with pure ink. And it's a cool option to have if you're going for a more expressive style. And I'm just trying to work on that a little bit. Let's just check for the bleed through. No bleed through. It didn't show up on the camera, but trust me, there was no bleed through. Little pyramid. You can still, again, if you go with a higher line, you can still get some thicker kind of hatch mark type lines if you're looking for that. If you're looking for some texturing, that's still an option that's available to you. I'm seeing a lot of buckling on this ink right here. Let me check for bleed through again. I'll see if I can get it on the camera this time. No, still no bleed through. Okay, cool. And then of course, if you reverse write, and like I said, the reverse writing was pretty smooth. Whoops, world's worst circle. Like and subscribe for more bad circles. Just gonna bring it around. Okay, when I'm using it more, I feel like the upstroke is a little bit more scratchy, and the downstroke is smooth. You can smooth out a fude nib on reverse writing with some micro mesh, which is something that I may do with this nib, especially since I'm having fun with it, and I think this is something that needs to be on one of my Jinhao 82s at least. Might be the bigger one, might be this smaller one. As you can see, there's a little bit of danger of bleeding from the ink, and if you touch it too soon, and I'm left-handed, so I will touch it too soon. Don't quote me out of context on that one. And we are looking at, a very useful and versatile pen. You can do this, or you can do this, all with the same pen. Okay, quick art advice before we go on. I'm going to do lines aren't real. Hear me out. I do a lot of line work. I do pen and ink work, and it involves using lines, but lines convey tone. Lines convey where the color of an object shifts to a different spot, and so it's just an important thing to remember. So like, again, if I were to take a different shape, like let's say I'm doing I'm going to do just a little robot, kind of similar to one that I drew a few weeks ago that happens to be on the bottom side of this page right here. As I'm drawing this line, I'm actually drawing the area where the side of, just to give you a picture, I'll do the neck. I'm actually drawing the area where the side of the robot goes into shadow. And so, of course, if you think about it, this is a very obvious thing, but it's just a good, like, overt reminder. This is not in the drawing. If it was a real thing that I was drawing, obviously not a fake thing, this is just where this part of the shape goes into shadow. Same here. So I need to put the lines to convey that shadow, but there's a lot of ways to do that, and it doesn't mean that you have to put lines in. If you're really good with paints, you can do it with paints in different colors without lines. If you are someone who uses ink washes, there's a lot of things you can do there. You just try to remember, where is it going into shadow? That's where I need to put lines. And also, where is the light hitting it? It'd be even a good idea if I didn't have lines here, but I'll just avoid putting big, thick lines on the top because I've got light hitting from this area. It's going to give me a better picture of what the shadows look like. And it's helped me a lot to just think about the idea that lines just indicate where the color or the tone of something is shifting. If that helps you, I hope it does. Otherwise, let's, well, whether it did or not, let's do some drawing. Right, looking at the drawing portion using the nib, it was fun, it was vibrant, it was definitely very wet, and I do feel like that had an effect on my opinion of it. I could see this working really well for me, but in order to use a pen like this that has such wet, thick lines, it would definitely mean a change in my artistic style, because this isn't the style I normally draw in. It felt almost like I had a marker, which is pretty intense. But hopefully you like it, and hopefully that gives you an idea of what you'd be working with if you had a pen like this. It's certainly worth a look, especially if that's what you're looking for. So, final thoughts. Well, it's not bad. I do feel that the fude nib from Jinhao, the one that I had and the way that it was set up, felt a bit wet for my own personal taste and my drawing styles. Certainly it works well, and if you're looking for something that puts a lot of juicy lines on the paper, this is fantastic. Can't be beat for the price either. I did feel that the Hongdian nib was slightly more comfortable than the Jinhao, which it's also, by the way, a lot more comfortable in my opinion than the Sailor. So the Hongdian fude nib is still my favorite of the three. I'd have to say that the Jinhao one is probably at the bottom of that list, but it's a very short list. It's a nice nib if you're looking for something to kind of spruce up or get exciting about your Jinhao 82s, which is the one that I know for sure that it fits into. There might be a few other models that it fits as well. If you know some models that fit the fude nib, please let me know in the comments, or let the other viewers who might be interested to check those out know about that in the comments. That being said, this is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching this video, for being a part of the conversation in the comments below. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this content, you want to see some more like it. I've got a book on my website, www.steveninks.com, and you can download it for free. So follow the links in the video description to check out all the stuff that we talked about. See you next time.